Hello everyone and welcome to episode 32 of the Spawn Point podcast. As always, we have Andy on the right hand side and
Hello.
below we have Ebbie.
Hello.
Now, this episode is going to be fairly short because we only have one thing to talk about really, and that is the Apple Watch. But before we talk about that, this episode is sponsored by Virtual Gladiators. You can use the code VECTRA and you'll get 10% off servers when you buy it from them. So, the Apple Watch. Now, the headline of this topic is Apple Watch a waste of time? No pun intended. Maybe there is a pun intended there. But, so, as the time of us recording this, which is on a Monday, it was the Apple Live event where they talked about the Apple Watch. They also talked about a new MacBook they revealed. And some other things with health and medical research a little bit and just new apps for that. So for the Apple Watch, they went into a bit more detail about pricing and some of the features. So, the smartwatch collection will range from $349, that's different, $349, and it'll go all the way up to $17,000, which is basically £299 going up to £13,500. And we'll get to explaining why some of those are so expensive. So the Apple smartwatch is something that will allow you to take calls, send and receive text messages, send and receive emails. You can use Siri, there's Apple Pay. You go through your music library on your watch, so you don't have to get your phone out. They did stuff like you can check into hotel rooms using a watch instead of having like a key card. There's Shazam on there as well, so you can check the name of a song that's playing. You can use it as a remote for Apple TV. There's apps on there like Uber. There's maps, weather, stuff like obvious things like stopwatch, timer, alarm. All the usual things.
Does it tell the time?
And it tells the time. Most importantly,
Wow.
It tells the time. And you can even get a Mickey Mouse hand thing that they showed of a dancing Mickey Mouse pointing at the times with his arms. If that's your kind of thing.
Cool, I'm sold.
Really? For £13,500?
I mean, you could get the 18-karat blue watch.
So there's a few other things to note. There's a total of 38 models to choose from. And they come in the different categories. So there's Watch Sport, just the cheapest option. Then there's Watch. And then there's Watch Edition, which is for all of the rich bankers and businessmen who just have a status they want to show off.
Did Nintendo have a hand in naming them by any chance?
Maybe they're working together and with their naming thing. It goes, oh, we should have called it the new
the new Apple
new watch. Yeah. So other things are CCS Insight, which are a market researcher. They forecast that there will be 20 million units sold of this Apple Watch by the end of the year, which is around 7% of the the compatible iPhones. 7% of people who own them, they predict will have an Apple Watch and use it with that, which I think is a little bit optimistic, maybe, but.
A little bit.
I mean, I'm trying to be careful because I was wrong about the iPad, because I thought that was ridiculous and that did really well. And I ended up buying one myself. So, just a little rundown of the Watch Sport watch and Watch Edition. The Watch Sport costs between £299 and £339. The description is the Sport collection cases are made from lightweight anodized aluminium, not aluminum, America, in silver and space grey. The display is protected by strengthened ion X glass, and the matching, how do you even say this word, fluoroelastomer band comes in 5 different colours. Yeah, that's a tongue twister. Then there's the watch, which is $549 to $1,099, which is the equivalent of £479 and £949. This is a highly polished stainless steel, black stainless steel cases. It's protected by sapphire crystal, whatever the hell that is. There's a choice of 3 different leather bands. There's a link bracelet, a Milanese loop, and a band made from high performance, there's that word again, fluoroelastomer.
I think sapphire crystal is the same material that they
Is that
make
a Pokemon game?
Yes, sapphire crystal.
Nintendo are working. This is confirmed. Nintendo are working together. Oh, Sapphire Crystal. That's our next thing.
I think it's the same thing that the iPhone glass is made out of.
Oh, okay. Is it to stop it from cracking, or?
Yeah, unless you drop it, I assume.
Well, yeah. Hopefully you're not that careless of something so ridiculously expensive. Then there's the Watch Edition, which is basically the exact same thing, apart from the fact it's made from 18 karat gold. And there's different kind of bands, whatever you want to call them, that you can put on them that look a bit more classy. And that costs from, apparently there's like limited stock of this as well. Like, it's not as widely available because it's so expensive. It's $10,000 to $17,000, which is the equivalent of £8,000 to £13,500. So based on all of that, based on the prices and the features and some of the kind of other things, the other thing I didn't really mention, which is a very important thing, is the battery only lasts 18 hours usually, and you have to charge it every day if you want to keep taking it out with you and wearing it.
18 hours is the maximum time, like for an average user. If you use it constantly, I think it said 4 hours.
So you'll get back home and you'll think, you'll be like at work and you'll be like, I've left my charger at home. What do you mean? Oh, I need to get back home. I need to charge my watch.
See, the one thing that instantly got me with this is they say, oh, you can open your hotel room with it. When are you going to be going into your hotel room? At night. When is your watch going to be out of battery? Oh, at night.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what happens when it runs out of battery and you go to get in your hotel room and you're like, oh, fuck. The charger's in the room. I can't get in.
But what about, I guess battery? Like, would you be okay charging it up every day? Was that something that you could sort of tolerate? Is that?
I already suck at charging my own phone, so literally any time anyone tries to get in touch with me, it's never on. So I would be worthless at this.
I've just stopped using your phone. No, I think if it was over, if it was a week, maybe, if they could get the battery life up to a week, I'd consider it. But 18 hours, not even one day.
Especially a lot of the time, you're not even using your watch. So it's like, if that's the maximum, imagine if you're using it, because they're saying all these things about, oh, you can take calls, you can send and receive emails, you can pay for stuff with Apple Pay, you can check the weather, you can check your maps. Think about how much battery that uses on your phone. Now, a watch is very important because it means you need to, most importantly, you need it for time. So you're walking around, I'm going to be late for this meeting. If you've been sending emails and sending texts and making calls and stuff, it's going to run out halfway through the day and you're going to be like, oh crap, I need to get back to the office to charge it or go back home or something or wherever your charger is and do that. Like, it seems a bit of a...
My biggest thing with this is, what does it do that other Apple products don't do?
It basically adds as like an extension for if you're too lazy to get your phone out your pocket, or something like if you want to change your music but you don't want to get your phone out, you can do it on there.
If you have enough money to buy a £300 watch, you shouldn't be that lazy. Like, being honest, you shouldn't, because you should have a well-paid job if you're gonna buy something like this. Yeah,
there was one thing I thought was I did think of a concept where, okay, that might be quite useful, is if you're driving along and you've got your watch in your hand and you don't have...
in your hand.
In your wrist. Sorry. So you got it around your wrist. I know, you might have it in your hand because you might be...
Oh, it's run out of battery.
Where's the charger? So, yeah, if you're just driving along in a car and your phone's somewhere else or it's in your pocket, someone rings you and you can't get it out because you don't want to cause an accident or whatever. And you can use Siri on your watch because they said you can just say, I think you can use, the Hey Siri thing where you don't have to press the home button, and usually that's if it's plugged in. When they demonstrated it, I think it wasn't actually charging. So I think that with the watch you might be able to go like, oh, Hey Siri, without having to press a button anywhere. I hope that's the case because it'd be quite useful if I'm driving along, for example, and someone I need to call someone, and I say, "Hey Siri, call so and so," and my watch does that. It's got a built-in microphone and stuff, so then you don't have to worry about being on, having your phone on a mount or having it on speakerphone or anything like that. So I thought that one particular scenario, that would be quite useful, but it doesn't really justify that kind of a price tag. Like, it would be easier just to get a holder for your phone, and just put your phone in there and then just put it on speaker and use Siri through that. And
see, now I was thinking about it, and I think the only way it would benefit me is because I quite like going out and running, and I use like Runkeeper to monitor my running, and I listen to podcasts as well, like when I go out for a run. So it would be quite cool if like I could use the Apple Watch to sort of monitor my running progress, and also use it to like skip any like podcasts. It's like, I've listened to this one already, and be quite a good companion for that. But I think that's the only time, if I had one, I'd use it when I went out running.
And that's why I think like the Watch Sport thing that they have, it's like, in terms of the fitness, if you're on the go and you're on the move and you're kind of going out for a run, I think it's a general watch to use like day-to-day activities. It doesn't really hit that sweet spot, but it's kind of like a glorified, those smart bands, whatever they're called, where it's like like I went to the Apple store the other day, just to sort of have a look at what kind of accessories there, because I got my new 5C. I was like, I wonder if there's any cool cases in there or something like that. And so I went, I saw they had like this smart band fitness thing, and it kind of measured your heart rate and how much distance you've run, all that. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, I wonder how much it is. Probably, I don't know, I'd say about, should be like 60 quid. About, I was like, £100 just for that. It was this tiny thing, and all it did had like a little display, and it's quite useful for that. But I
feel like a lot of the time Apple products upon release are stupid, crazy money, and the only way that you can ever really get them is by entering these year-long contracts, When I got my 4S, that was when the 5 was out. So when I got my iPhone 4S, I had to enter into a 2-year contract and pay them £100 up front.
Well, I'm gonna handle your contracts in the future, because I didn't, when I got the iPhone 4, I had to pay monthly for that, but I managed to negotiate a free phone out of it, and that was when it almost pretty much just come out. It took me about 2 hours of talking to a guy in the shop, going, no, okay.
This is why I don't do contracts anymore. I'm just gonna, like, whenever my dad is done with his iPhone, I'm gonna get that when he gets the new one, because he's gonna be getting like the.
Well, I used to be on 3, and I went over to giffgaff, which is like you can do pay as you go and pay monthly, and you can kind of just switch one off, and you can
at the same time.
Huh?
At the same time.
Well, so you can buy these things called goodie bags, which are like you get for 30 days, and it'll give you 500 minutes, gigabyte of data, however many text, unlimited text.
The data rolls over as well.
Yeah.
Found out, because I haven't paid for a goodie bag in ages.
And so what happens, you can set it up as recurring, or you can just have it as a one-time thing, last 30 days. Or if you don't use minutes and you just want extra internet and you want to be on pay-as-you-go but you want more internet, you can buy gigabags, which basically you just pay a bit a month just for internet. You're not paying for any additional minutes that you don't need. So it's very flexible, and they've got they've got a forums thing that they have on their website when you sign in. So if people are having problems or you're having a problem, then the community sort of helps each other out. And you can just go from one to the other at any point. You're not tied into anything. So
cool.
But that's kind of a little bit sidetracked. But
was that a good enough ad? Yeah.
Was that? Do you know, I have actually got a recruiter link for giffgaff, which
they'll send you more SIM cards.
Every time we say the word giffgaff, we get $1. No, but that's kind of a sidetrack.
So I mean, like the other thing I was thinking, like one of my friends has just bought a Pebble watch, and he's also like a police officer, and he was like, oh yeah, I just bought this really cool watch, and then he sort of wore it a couple of times.
So he goes, stop right there! I need to check Shazam to see what song was playing.
No, but he said to me, I don't want to take it out while I'm on duty because I don't want to break it. So he's put it back in the box and hasn't worn it since.
I would be so worried.
My biggest thing with this new watch is, how long is it going to be before they release the second model? And how will it render these ones completely pointless, like iPhones, like iPads, like any product that Apple do?
I imagine
is it supposed to be like this one watch that is supposed to last you like a long time, or is it going to be outdated in a year? That's my big question.
Yeah, I imagine they're probably going to like. I don't reckon it's probably going to be a year, maybe 2 years. Although it's Apple, so it's probably going to be a year.
Apple Watch Air, I'm calling it.
Yeah, when you buy expensive watches like this, at least in my family, it's like a big tradition. On your 21st birthday, you get a really nice watch. That watch lasts you for the rest of your life. You never buy another watch.
Yeah,
and they're cheaper than these watches.
Because I bought.
You don't have to charge them.
I bought a watch in like 2005, and like I've replaced the battery once, and it's 10 years later.
You can get like those when you go to like I think like Singapore, when there's market stalls where they sell like the fake watches that are like it's like something like Calvin Klein, but it'll be like Covin Klein or something. It'll be, those are like worthless, and they're cheap builds, and they're worth like nothing. Even they last longer than 18 hours.
Yeah, you can get a top quality Rolex watch.
Yeah,
and it will last you for the rest of your life.
I can't see this being a thing that people latch onto. I really can't.
I think someone that I went on holiday with, they bought one of those fake watches, and it said like Calvin Klein. It's like really like subtle, but yeah.
It's there's going to be a certain amount of people that are just going to buy it just because it's an Apple product, and they're like,
Apple.
It's an Apple product.
I genuinely think my dad's that person. I feel like I'll get to play with an Apple Watch at some point.
I don't know. If it comes down to an affordable price, or a more affordable price, and the battery life gets extended, that's the one thing that is holding me back, is the battery life, because I don't.
So do you think at this point in time, even the cheapest model, the Watch Sport one, do you think that is still too expensive? Like just way too much for what you're getting? Or do you think the watch is trying to do too much and it should just be simplified?
I think they're all too expensive. All too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, how much are
I just don't feel like they do a whole lot different to my iPhone, which you can get free with a contract, or you can buy years later and they still function. But they still get updated.
Put this into perspective, right? So we're saying, hang on, let me just check my notes. So we're saying, if you just get the regular, not the sport one, you get a regular watch, which is not a regular watch, but a regular Apple Watch. £479 is the cheapest model. Now, take into account, I bought a new iPhone, the 5C. That cost £300 SIM-free. Now, I'd have to buy one of those and probably another one to get roughly one of those watches. And an iPhone can do more. It's like, for that same price that a watch costs, you could get like an iPhone 5S. You could get an iPhone 6.
Yeah.
And an iPhone 6 does way more than that watch does. This watch, a lot of the apps, the number of apps you can do are probably limited. Yeah, there's a lot of built-in ones. Not all of them are going to work though. You can't play games on it. You can't actually do a whole lot. It's just really an extension to your iPhone. So you're going to have to buy an iPhone anyway. So if you're going to choose, you're going to have to be a user that already owns one of these iPhones.
Yeah,
you're not going to buy a watch without.
That's the other thing. You can't use it with any other phones, and you can't. I want to say you can't use it on its own.
Yeah, you can't really. Well, you can to tell the time, but you can't make calls.
It defeats the object of buying a £300 watch just to tell the time.
You can't make calls because you haven't got any contacts to import the phone from. You have to have a compatible phone, so you can't buy on its own. So Apple have to rely on people that already own a 5C, a 5S, or a 6 or 6 Plus models, and they have to be willing to buy one of these. And also, the one thing that really just annoys me, and I know this happens just with general watches anyway that are ridiculously expensive, but the only difference between the models is basically the bands, the straps, and the material. And the bands are replaceable anyway. You can take them out and put new ones in. So,
but the other thing is, like, obviously there needs to be a link between the watch and the phone. So that's going to mean something like a Bluetooth link on your phone. And if you're using the apps on the watch and it's connecting to the phone, my phone just about lasts a day anyway. So that's just going to wipe the phone out if I'm playing on the watch as well. So when I go to tell the time, it's going to be like, oh, let's have a look at my watch. Oh, it's dead. Let's have a look at my phone. Oh, that's dead as well.
Well, your phone's going to be on 4G, isn't it, as well? Or like, it'll have the internet on. So that, in order to kind of use those things like receiving emails and if you want to do all the things they say, for Siri, for emails, you're going to need to have your internet on. So it's going to drain your phone anyway. Then it's connecting to that. That's going to drain. So then your watch is also going to run out. Your phone's going to run out because it's using the watch. So you're not going to be left with anything.
So, I mean, like...
This just isn't really well thought through, is it?
No.
I wonder, because you can like draw little pictures to other people that have Apple Watches as well.
You can do that on the DS though. You can do that on the DS, literally.
I was just going to say, I wonder how long it is until like the first penis is drawn on it. Because I don't feel like it's going to be that long.
I already thought, and this is really mature, but in the Apple Live event, the guy is going, I'm going to send something to my wife. He starts to draw a flower. So he draws you can watch it back on the Apple Live event. Watch it now. I'm sure, this might be my memory, but I'm sure he draws like the middle, like there. Like like a daffodil. So he draws like the middle, and he draws like a picture like that. I was like, oh god, no. It's a flower.
Can you imagine if just in the middle of the Apple Live event, penis was drawn?
Do you know what the stupidest thing, right? The stupidest thing is like, oh, you can send your heartbeat to each other. I know a smarter thing, Apple, that we've been able to do for thousands of years. Andy, give me a hand. There's my heartbeat. You don't have to send... Why would I need to send you a heartbeat anyway?
It's so romantic.
Because you could hold hands and you could see your hearts sync together. And then you could beat together.
I like the fact that you could just... The other thing that could be used, you can tap people. You can tap the watch and it will tell their phone. It will tap the same. So I could just go, hey.
Drain your battery really, really fast.
It just drain everyone else's battery.
Yeah.
Suck it.
It'd be like that Family Guy sketch where it's like, Mommy.
I mean, I think there are some really cool features of it. Like, I really like the connectivity with the phone. And the fact that like it even like will vibrate and stuff if you got like a text message and it'll pop up there and you don't have to.
Does that?
But you can just go oh hello instead of going oh hello.
What's the difference?
I do think
there's an extra second of fiddling.
Yeah, it might be at the bottom of your pocket.
What do you guys think about the design? Because I think overall they did quite a good job of making the watch look. Not look like it stands out to you. Like it looks like when you see someone wearing it on one of the events that Apple do, it's kind of hard to, you have to like, sometimes I have to look twice and go, oh, they're actually wearing one. Like I don't immediately notice like, oh, some ugly bulky thing like they've got a calculator strapped to their arm. So.
I'll tell you what I didn't like was the coloured bands on the sport watch.
The plastic, the white, pink plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they looked horrible and tacky.
And they're the cheapest ones, and it's...
Yeah. But, so I guess I'm paying $479 for mine instead, and I don't even know what that comes with.
Oh, but that depends...
You can change the strap, though, can't you?
That depends if you want that strap, because certain straps cost more money. And if you want a little... hang on, what is it, Andy? Is it gold or copper? Is it...
21% copper. What?
There's gold and rose gold. Rose gold is gold with a bit of copper mixed in, and we had a fight earlier.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the old... So, yeah, I mean, it depends. If you have a watch that you really like out of their designs, you go, oh, I really like that one. I don't know, can you buy the band separately? I haven't really said, have they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to buy the band separately. Although... Like, there is two different sizes, isn't there? Because the sport watch is going to be the smaller one, and then the watch is going to be slightly bigger. So
Nintendo, I can feel your presence with these names.
So that means that, like, you won't be able to buy the bands for the watch and put them on the sports watch because they're going to be too big, I assume. So you're going to be stuck with those shitty plastic ones.
And also the thing is, which I think is a little bit, I don't know, unfair. You've got the different sizes. You've got two different, that's the other thing, you've got two different sizes for the watch. You've got like a 38mm, I think it is, and a 42 or something. So one's got a bigger screen. And so people who people who are basically like, their arms like a twig, like mine. I'm going to have the smaller one because the big one's going to look ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if I've got a humongous arm that, looks like a leg of ham, then I'm going to want the bigger one. I'm gonna want the bigger watch, aren't I? And that means I'm gonna have to pay bigger. Bigger? I'm gonna have to pay more.
I'm gonna have to pay bigger.
I'm gonna have to pay bigger. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you've got a bigger arm, you're gonna have to pay more because a small one will look ridiculous and might not fit. Is the way I'm kind of looking at it.
This is the thing that I noticed with them as well, is they look like traditionally man's watches. Because they're so, like, the face of them is so big, and women are supposed to have, like, really dainty little watches, and they just look really big and bulky, and...
The only thing is, like, I know what they'll say to that. Apple PR team will be straight on that. They go, but, have you checked out our pink version of the sport watch? Which is pink. It's a girl's colour, it's pink. And
then everyone will get down on that for sexism, but...
No, I know, but I'm saying that's what they would try and do to market,
Here at Apple, we're all for equality, so we decided that to not separate the women, we were going to have a one-watch-fits-all policy.
That's fine and all. That's fine.
Be some sort of, like, be like, what's this...
They look masculine because women have smaller wrists, so, like, having a big thing on my wrist is going to look really dumb.
What's his name? It's like John Ives or something, the senior design guy. It's like, we designed the Apple. They designed and he has that little, like, really deep speech while they just spin the thing, like, oh, and they're like, when it comes to design, and it's like talking, and it's like, when we thought about the watch, we didn't want to separate the woman from the watch. We wanted to bring the watch closer to the woman. So we designed a pink strap. We call it Watch Sport in pink. The eye pink.
I pink.
Just before, like, people think that I'm overreacting to this being a masculine watch, it's not that big a deal. I wasn't going to buy one anyway, so...
You should have seen her flip tables over it, God.
And at the end of the at the end of the Apple Live event, Tim Cook walked off and he went, "Cheers, Nintendo." No, he didn't really. But so overall, is this a case of it just being too expensive, or is it just that even if this was at a price that you didn't think was too expensive, would you still get it, or think about getting it, or is it just that there's not really much purpose to it because you've got a phone and there's not much real need for it?
It'd have to be significantly cheaper. Like, if it was £99, that sort of price.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a quick look at other sort of smartwatches, and they're sort of in the region of £100 to £150. That seems a reasonable price to pay for one of those smartwatches. I think I would be tempted to get one if the battery was a lot better in it.
I think that is where the big holdback that really pulled me out of it, really, was when they said, oh yeah, it's got all-day battery, can I not have all-week battery? Or something, can I not?
That when they mentioned it back in September, that was like everything everyone was asking, like, oh, how long's the battery life? And they really avoided it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, don't care about that. Weather, ooh. Like, oh, look.
Why would you need the weather on your watch? Because surely you'd be like, oh, it's sunny.
You can go, order a taxi from your watch on Uber.
There's an 80% chance it's already raining.
Let's face it, if you have one of those watches, you've probably got a car. You probably don't need an Uber.
Yeah. So yeah, all round, you just think that it needs to be cheaper and
needs to be cheaper
more
and needs
battery
to do
life
a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say it needs to do a bit more, but
I think for
cheaper.
I'd say for its price range, Ebbie's got a point. For the price that it's set at right now, it needs to be able to do more to justify that. Because I've looked at other articles, like BBC News even said that Apple really haven't explained the justification for the cost, especially with the difference between models. Such a big jump. So I think either it needs to do a lot more, it's just my personal take, is that it needs to do a lot more, or if you make it cheaper, it can, it does enough, but not for the price tag that it holds. And also the battery life is the most important thing about a watch, is you need one that you don't have to charge every day. I think that is really the most important thing, Mr. Cook, is battery life. is not a phone. We don't want to take it off all the time and charge it. We want this to last a long time.
I have to say, Mr. Cook, it was a very good idea, but I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm out. And that is all for episode 32 of the Spawn Point podcast. So until next week, goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye everyone at Apple that hates us now. Bye.